Welcome to the Rebel Love Show. We are a once-a-week broadcast from Manchester, New Hampshire, where we are pro-pot, pro-gun, and pro-coffee.
And pro-moonshine.
Pro-moonshine. And you can find all of our content via Voluntary Virtues, JRev Radio, also iTunes, Stitcher, and go check out our YouTube channel. I am Rob Mathias.
I'm Joel Valenzuela.
And I'm Shire Dude.
And our today's guest is none other than the one and only Mark Warden.
Bum.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's an honor to be here with you in a secret
and also
lair
with you
of your studio.
In a secret location somewhere in the heart of Manchester, New Hampshire. Anyways, we have a bunch of announcements, but I think Joel should take the first one here.
Yeah, so I'm leaving.
All right, there we go. That's that announcement. He's done after tonight. So
last show, as an official part of the staff, I'm getting demoted to beg. Please, can I be on that show? I used to run. So if I want to be on again, I have to beg now. I can't just be like, I'm showing up, even though I kind of live here. Pretty sad. That's why I'm drinking.
There you go. Well, you will be missed. So it was a pleasure with you being on the show. All right. Well, that was. I thought you were going to do like a couple of minutes. You love talking about yourself.
No,
I'm not until the end. Okay.
That's at the end. I already claimed the
I know you claim. I know you
claim
claimed
the end.
You claimed the end, but I thought you were going to do a little bit more. All right. So we have a bunch of announcements. Everyone here at this table is going to be participating at Keenevention.
Jazz hands.
So I'll consider I'm talking right now. I'll go first, I suppose.
Go first, please.
I'm going to be on the direct action panel with Garrett as moderator on Sunday, and then I'm also going to be moderating a independence panel right before that on Sunday, which I'm crazy excited for because I love New Hampshire independence. But look for that if you're in near New Hampshire, you want to go to see what the activists are like here in New Hampshire. Go to Keenevention. Go check it out. But Joel, what are you doing, Keenevention?
I'm going to be going to the dance party.
Oh, I'm loving the dance party.
But as far as professionally, I'm going to be on the new mover panel with Shire Dude. And it just doesn't roll off the tongue.
I
Andrew.
think that's at 4 on Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know what time it is.
Which is
I'll
usually
know.
when activists wake up on a Friday. So.
Dude,
yeah, that's pretty
today
much
for me, just saying. Anyway, so I'm also going to be on the Cop Block panel. Again, Mark Warden represent Cop Block hoodie. Woo!
There you go.
Talking about a kinder, gentler kind of cop blocking.
Well, how gentle can I get with cop blocking?
I don't know. Might have to break out the feather.
Well, there we go.
Oh, yeah, like Ian Freeman's microphone on the top of his camcorder is all feathery.
It is all
Have
feathery.
you seen it?
Yeah.
I want one of those.
You just tickle cops, walk up and
just
sneak
like
up on them and tickle on
right
them,
under the
so
nose
they
or
giggle.
something.
Yeah.
Mark, what are
Tickle
you
their
doing
fancy.
at Keenevention?
I'll be involved in the legislative panel. Keith and who else? And Marav are going to be co-panelists with me. And basically, we're going to be talking about some of the challenges and successes we've had legislatively and politically here in the Shire, in the Free State of New Hampshire. Talk about some of the successes we've had legislatively and some of the challenges and what it looks like going forward in the future politically, at least for those of us who are still left inside the system here in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Work that system. Just blow it up on the way out.
Sounds right. Light a fuse on the way in and run out on the way out.
And also, one last announcement. I don't know about the other people at this table, but I'm going to be trying to get together a bunch of activists for a planned New Hampshire Independence outreach in Keene on October 18th. There's a huge pumpkin festival. I want to get a bunch of people together to hand out some New Hampshire Independence literature because you're going to have thousands of people from around the state go to where the people are, and that's exactly where they are. They are in the Pumpkin Festival because that's one of the biggest festivals of New Hampshire. Am I wrong?
Is it just me, or did you say the Bumpkin Festival?
Pumpkin.
No, it's something
Pumpkin?
like
Pumpkin.
10,000 jack-o'-lanterns there.
Yeah, no, it's I'm going to be on scene with my colleague Ian, the Marshal. We're going to be conducting air support.
Oh yeah, in case the state has some sort of snipers.
Yeah, the prophet Ian, peace be upon him.
Maybe you
One
could have a
requested-
drone. Give a drone that drops feathers on the snipers.
Yeah, kinder, gentler.
No, you should get the drone that drop cop block lit on the snipers that are up there. Yeah,
Yeah, because seriously, Pumpkin Festival and the police had snipers last time. What the hell?
Yeah.
Well, I thought this was America. You know?
Hey, by the way, for our millions of listeners out there, can you remind them when Keenevention is and how to give them more information on that?
Keenevention is October 31st through the 2nd. It's in, I forget what hotel it is, but somewhere in Keene. Keenevention.info is the website. Go there, go buy a ticket in Bitcoin, support not using the Federal Reserve note, and go buy some tickets.
Brother.
Yeah, forget the paper. Forget the paper.
It's the one time and place when it's okay to go full Keene.
It's always okay to go, well, you're right. Well, that and PorkFest are the two acceptable locations to go full
It's a different level of PorkFest. That's full PorkFest.
Yeah, that's true. You can't, I mean, you can get outdone by people at PorkFest from being full Keene. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so, Mark, you are the quote-unquote, well, former quote-unquote anarchist state rep. What brought you to the Shire? Like, why are you here? What happened back in Vegas? Why'd you come?
Well, first of all, it sounds like a contradiction in terms to be an anarchist state legislator, but I'm trying to blur the lines there as best I can. Trying to be one of the most libertarian-oriented legislators in the entire country. But that's part of the mission. I moved here from Las Vegas, Nevada in 2007, inspired by the Free State Project. Came to New Hampshire knowing this was the last best chance of liberty in our lifetime, and perhaps the only bastion left to really show what smaller government and bigger personal liberty looks like. So I'm working with you guys, every day in our own way to try to make this the example for the other 49 states on what liberty looks like and how it can work for people.
How did you discover the Free State Project?
Gosh, as I mentioned earlier offline, before Facebook, people used to be on the chat lines and the forums, and I heard about it originally from the Libertarian Party newsletter. There was an advertisement in there about Free State Project. Checked it out in the just early stages of the internet, and then there were these forums. We could go in and find out more about it. And I actually signed up early when they got to choose the state. So the origins of Free State Project was the idea was to choose a small, low population state where 20,000 movers would make a real difference. So we got to vote among the 10 smallest states population-wise, and New Hampshire came out on top. So
what state did you vote for?
I voted for New Hampshire.
Thank you.
This was a voting message called Condorcet's method, where you could vote for. It's kind of
like a top three type thing?
Yeah, so vote your top three. So I voted for New Hampshire, then Wyoming, and then I think North Dakota.
Now, if Wyoming had taken the top spot, would you have moved?
Yes. But I told at the time, if it had been Alaska, I would not have moved.
It's like the same thing for me, kind of. Now, what is your mover number?
491.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Outclassing me by hundreds.
Triple digits.
Wow. Are you gonna do like Joel here and get a tattoo of it on your arm?
Sweet. I like that. No.
Yeah. Not for everyone.
So So you kind of talked about it earlier, but why do you take pride in being self-proclaimed anarchist state rep? Like, did you get like heat in the state house for going, literally branding yourself as a voluntarist and anarchist in the state house? Like, how did like your colleagues there relate to you?
Yeah, I did not brand myself as an anarchist legislator or even an anarchist. I might tell people I believe in the ideas of voluntarism, but nobody there knows what that is. Most people there really don't even know what a libertarian is. So I come off as a very libertarian-leaning Republican or libertarian type of legislator. I was elected as a Republican. I'm part of the Republican Party. Here in New Hampshire, many Republicans are quite liberty-oriented and libertarian-leaning. So it's not that much of a stretch. But a lot of the older people in the party think it just means that I want to legalize pot. Well, that's true. But
yeah.
There's more to it than that.
Yeah. No,
I want to legalize everything.
Now, I know I've heard a lot from Greg Moore about your early days in the State House, and he seems to have taken certain pride in forming a more effective legislature. I don't know if that's just in his own head or if you'd concur.
No, Greg was great. He was very helpful in the early days. Just give me a sense of what would pass, how to be effective, really. You can't just go out there with the macho libertarian flash and just try to tell everybody how smart you are and that your ideas are better. Because the fact is our ideas are better, but the world isn't ready for them. So you have in order to be effective, you have to make cogent arguments. You have to go with a little bite-sized incremental approach to improvement. And that's, I learned that quickly. You can't just go for it all. I did sponsor a bill to remove cannabis entirely from the criminal code. So that was awesome. It was a pure bill. Other bills were out there to pass medical marijuana or to decriminalize or to, just make it a violation of offense. But I said, let's strike it entirely from the code. And I thought that was a good approach. It didn't pass the House, but at least we had our day to speak about it, and it opened the eyes of some people.
It was amazing. Like right before I moved, I saw how the state house, at least the state house part, passed the legalization of pot, and it was kind of crazy because I had like majority Republican support. And it's always kind of like in New Hampshire, politics it's not normal politics in New Hampshire, and like the Republicans in the state house want full-on legalization of pot. Well, not all of them, obviously, but there's enough support where it was a majority of the, that wing got it through. And then the Democrat governor, she was the one that wanted to veto that, and it never got through the Senate. So it's very fascinating. Like the politics of like New Hampshire is just insane as it is.
Well, yeah, one thing I've learned from knocking on probably thousands of doors, asking people their opinions, is the rules in other states don't really apply. You'll have conservative Democrats, liberal Republicans, and almost everyone wants to call themselves an independent no matter how lockstep they vote.
And that's the nice thing about New Hampshire is there is this streak of independent thought, at least self-proclaimed. So only 30% are registered Republicans, 30% are Democrats, and 40% are independents. So they make up the majority of those who actually vote. And those who don't vote or don't register are likely independent as well.
How long have you been a libertarian?
Since 1995. I was in my mid-30s, I think, when I discovered the Libertarian Party. And it was like I went to one of their meetings and the light bulb went off. Eureka. I said, wow, that's me. I thought I was the only one that thought that way. There are plenty of people out there.
Was that like your your red pill moment where going to that, or like what kind of woke you up to the ideas of liberty?
For me, I started out as a single issue guy, and it was taxes. Because my whole life, my former careers, I'd been a W-2 employee, salaried, weekly paycheck, and I moved to Nevada and got in real estate and became what's called a independent contractor, where I'd get full pay, in this case commissions, without anything taken out, right? No taxes were withheld. So on April 15th of next year, I had to write one big fat check to the federal government. And bam, that's what got me thinking. So, oh my God, where does all this money go? I know I don't get this kind of services or programs or any benefits from the federal government, and I don't want to give them any more of my money. What the hell is going on? And that's really what got me going down this rabbit hole, learning more about libertarianism, about libertarian thought, about true limited government, and about where your money is going and how it's wasted.
So it's been a 19-year journey for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm thrilled to see young guys like you, like people in this room. It's awesome.
Some people weren't even alive when you made that switch.
I know. Isn't it amazing? You guys get it. You guys are way more libertarian than I am.
But
You got the next step.
I got to say,
I'm still blossoming.
Some of the young people, younger than even people at this table, came at the right moment when it's like, there's something happening. There must have been some lonely-ass years in there.
Especially
really bad.
Especially living here in the early days if you're an early mover. Everyone here at this table is an early mover, obviously.
Right.
But
like
now
you and the 5 or whatever. It's got to have been lonely. There's thousands of us here.
Yeah, it had to be like very different, like going to meetups where there's like 10, 20 people, or that was like everyone in like Manchester when there was just 20 people. But now it's like there's meetups all the time. I can't keep track of every single person that's here. I don't know every Free Stater.
It's unbelievable. And every night of the week there's something. Back in Nevada, I went to, let's say, the annual Libertarian Party convention for the state convention.
I'm sorry.
And there were like 30 people there.
Oh.
We get more than that on a Wednesday night for beer night here in Manchester, in a city of 110,000. It's really unbelievable.
Yeah, mind you, like that doesn't seem like a lot, like 30 or 40 people, but in a small city, that's a lot. That's a huge amount of people. Like I remember going to Ron Paul meetups back in 2011 and whatnot in Chicago. It's like an area of like 8 million people, and we'd get like 5 maybe 8. You know, it's literally one person per million people showed up for like an hour or so, and that's pretty much it. You know, here, like you said, there's literally everything. Something's going on every day. Like, I can't go to every single event that is going on. You know, whether it's activism or just like social events. Like, I can never keep up with how many events. Like my case in point, you're talking about Taproom Tuesday. This last Taproom Tuesday was my first Taproom Tuesday. And I've been here since January, and that was the first time I was actually able to go to that. Yeah, like I know that was like a long. Like,
back in the day, that was the only thing going on. Once a week was the only time you got to see other Free Staters was Taproom Tuesdays.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because just going around, living and stuff, you just run into random porcupines that no one knew existed. It's like, you know, it's like stumbling on buried treasure or something. It's like, oh, there's another one. Oh.
Yeah, you'll see a bumper sticker or a little porcupine
all
magnet.
the time.
I walked into Starbucks the other day, and oh my God, it was unbelievable. There was a porcupine behind the counter as a barista. I was blown away.
I wonder who that might
Go
be.
figure.
yeah, I mean, like I love like walking down Elm. Like every time I go downtown to Manchester, I always run into some sort of porcupine at some point, like walking around, or the bumper stickers like you're talking about. Like we mark our cars. That's a thing. Like we mark our cars. You know either there's a bunch of bumper stickers or they're rocking Wisconsin plates. But like you know they're a Free Stater if they have one of those on there. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know what you're about.
Right.
When I drove up tonight to come to the studio here, it was kind of dark outside, so I couldn't see the addresses. But I saw a car parked out front, and the license plate says Bitcoin. So I knew I was in the right place.
Yeah, that's my international sign of like that's where I'm living. Yeah.
And Andres's Free Talk Live sticker.
Yeah, my car is all marked up on the back too.
Just one.
Yeah.
Just
no,
one?
it's got the Free Talk Live and it's got a Free State Project.
Oh. I didn't notice.
See, I wouldn't put the Free State Project one on there.
Well, you know what I do?
That was before I came over here.
Oh, so it's grandfathered into the relationship of moving here, huh?
Yeah.
The one thing that I do have is I have this bumper sticker that says "Live Free or Spaz" with this goofy-looking cartoon porcupine.
Yeah.
The other day when I was doing laundry, some lady asked to take a picture of that because her cat's name was Spaz. And she thought that was just so awesome. It's like, live free or die, but live free in my cat.
I've had people drive up behind me and take pictures of my plate while I'm driving.
Happened to me in Bedford the other day.
Yeah, it's just like, okay. Like I remember I was sitting in a parking lot, like on my lunch break, and like guy came out and like, oh, can I take a picture of your plates? Like my son would freak out at it. I'm like, sure.
Speaking of license plates, can we go back to legislation just for a little bit?
I love legislation.
I really don't like talking about politics that much, but this is one of just the shining examples of the way we're making a difference in New Hampshire, and particularly for your listeners outside of the state, they'll be amazed.
Poor bastards.
Yeah, just get here as fast as you can.
Yeah,
they'll be
before
amazed.
it's too late.
They're really having successes this year. Like every year, the cops want to allow these automated license plate readers in New Hampshire, basically so they can write more tickets, right? We're the only state in the union that prohibits them by statute. And so we're trying to keep it that way. So this bill to allow them came to my committee that I sat on, and I just fought it all the time. I went and sat in the police car to watch this thing work, and it was like between a 5 and 10% error rate of misreading the plates. Because if a plate is bent or you catch it in the wrong light.
Or it says Bitcoin.
But of course, the cops like these things, and we had to fight how long they could keep the data and record the data, and when they'd have to toss it out. Anyway, unfortunately, it passed the committee, got passed out of the committee, came to the House floor, and another Free Stater on the Democrat side and I on the Republican side got up, and we overturned the committee recommendation and killed the bill.
Who is? Can you name names?
Is he outed?
Flaherty?
No, it was one of the other. It was one of the other two.
There we go. I don't have them memorized, so that's fine.
His name is very similar to yours. His first name is very similar to yours.
All right. I don't even know all the Free Staters are in the State House, to be perfectly honest.
Okay. I think I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of State House politics, like the primary just happened recently, so there's a lot of Free Staters running for office. Again, I don't want you to out people that aren't outed already.
Most of them seem to have passed their primaries.
I heard that 247 passed their primaries.
Well, hopefully at least 200 of those will actually win. But what number of do you think would really actually get elected in November? Where do you see that going?
He's not going to give
That is right, because we are being monitored on this very show by NSA and others.
And others.
And others. So, the history is that in 2006 was the first Free Stater elected to the House, the State House. We went from 1 to 4 to 14 to 11. And
Aww.
But this year, I think it's going to go up to about 16, between 16 and 20. There are about 30 Free Staters in the general election on November 4th, and I'm expecting at least half, probably 2/3 of those to win.
That's amazing. I mean, mind you, I'm putting my minarchist cap on for a second because I don't like voting and politics and all that jazz. But in New Hampshire,
is force.
Yeah, voting is violence.
Violence, man.
Voting is violence.
Yeah. But I mean, where do libertarians actually, get elected? And that happens all the time here, and that's amazing to see. Like these people go into office, like like how are you talking about like different bills and stuff like that. My thing is, because for me, I feel like most Free Staters are on that philosophical same position that all of us at this table are, where I almost will sacrifice my principle, and I will vote in this upcoming election because there's Free Staters running. So I'll vote for a Free Stater. Everyone else, I'm not even gonna vote. I'll just put none of the above or something along those lines.
Right in Ron Paul. Right in Ron Paul.
Or Vermin Supreme.
Oh yeah,
Vermin Supreme. Yeah. But it's amazing, just because all these people have the same philosophical view that we all have. It's not like these other type of libertarians that are very restorative public and they're very minarchist, and they think cops. They're some small conservatives are very pro cop or whatnot. None of these people are like that. They're very pro liberty across the board. And if they can just go in there and just put a monkey wrench into bills coming through, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because as far as principles, I mean, no one is pure. Everyone pays taxes. Everyone drives on the roads. Everyone obeys traffic laws to a certain degree.
Everyone's a little bit statist.
Yeah, well, no, this is the world we live in. We live in a world that's not the world that we want to live in, and we're not guilty for living in this world. We were born. I mean, who wasn't born here, right? And so, the big theater that is politics, as crazy as it is, if I can use it to diminish the size and scope of that theater, then so be it. That's great. I don't care.
Yeah, if it's political jujitsu, using their force against themselves, let's give it a try. There are many paths to liberty, whether you're a voluntarist or an anarchist or minarchist or a libertarian, or a small government guy or a constitutionalist or unicornian, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's give it a try.
One thing that when I'm talking with people who are outside of the whole, they're just in a little bit more of a complacent part of their lives, and they're not quite full anarchist or crazy things like that. And they're like, well, one thing I try to point out is whatever you're doing with your life, person, you just do more of that and less of this crazy circus around messing with stuff. It's not like once every victory that we do, every victory that we achieve is just some area of our lives we just get to go back to our normal lives and just forget all this stuff.
Well, keep in mind that people have been brainwashed their entire life, and some people like nanny statism, right? They like the big brother or the big mother of nanny states.
They like being taken care of.
Look what happened in Scotland. They just had this historic vote.
It was rigged.
Where they could vote to secede from Great Britain. They had a chance for independence.
I know.
And they voted no. I mean, that was a great example.
But it wasn't a huge vote no, though. It wasn't overwhelming.
Yeah, and it was an unprecedented, huge generational change. For example, when we talk about independence or secession votes around here, even if you get people on board with it, it's you get scared. It's second-guessing themselves at the altar or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Everyone does it. It's just a huge change that people get cold feet. They're like, oh, my gosh, this is huge.
People are always afraid of the unknown, and they're a little bit scared about that. Even in Massachusetts, about 6 years ago, there was a vote to cut the state income tax in half. I think it was from 6
Who doesn't want that?
I know, it failed. How is that possible? That means so many voters are public employees that they all showed up to vote to keep the high tax to protect their own jobs. That's the only way that makes sense.
Back to the whole Scotland thing, I love the fact that that vote happened, Not that I think that there needs to be a vote for them to do that, but
That was enough for a start.
Oh, it was a
Just
huge
just
start.
did it happen.
it laid a legitimacy on the table for Western powers to break apart. Without violence taking place, like England, the UK could have came in and stopped the election and like prevented that from happening. They didn't do that. Yeah, they could. Yeah, they could have they probably fixed the vote. But nonetheless, the vote happened. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a vote. They allowed people to have free speech and talk openly about secession in the empire that is the UK. So like that, if that can happen there, why can't that happen here?
Well, they're trying to do it next door in Vermont, aren't there? There's been
a
long time Vermont secession.
And we can't forget the Cascadians.
Yes. Arcadians? Or is it Cascadians?
The Cascadians in Oregon and Washington that just won out, too. And, of course, Texas is just bitching and moaning about it as usual. And so far they haven't done squat. But if some other state secedes before Texas, they're going to be, we got to be next, we got to be next, we got to be next. We're going to lose out on all that secession.
They did something similar in Colorado this year. There was a vote, I think, for 4 counties or 4 towns in northeastern Colorado that were thinking about seceding. And they put it to the vote. I think it was just it wasn't a binding vote. It was just sort of to see what the people thought. But it also failed. Like, people are so used to government.
Yeah, just like the split California into 6 pieces vote. Now, all that failed just because, oh my gosh, this is something that has never happened in hundreds of years. I don't know what to do with it. It's scary. But the fact that this happens underscores that big thing in people's minds that people want to live and die by their own decisions increasingly. They don't want to live for other people. They don't want to have other people take what's theirs, decide things for them, and they feel helpless. They feel kind of like enslaved a little bit, and they want to take charge, self-agency, of their own life.
I think you're always going to keep seeing secessionist movements keep spreading and gaining popularity around the world and in this country as well. Vermont's definitely built up that culture. Like, I would love to see, people here build up that culture more for New Hampshire independence. But you definitely have that independent spirit in Texas, and like I said, the Cascadians and whatnot. People in northern California and southern Oregon, they want to do the whole Jefferson state or whatnot. I mean, Alaska, I know there's a separatist movement in Alaska.
They already kind of are separated. I mean, no one goes there.
Well,
Joel brings up an important point that people really do want to be left alone for the most part.
Yeah.
But in the past, for the past millennia, there hasn't been really a good method to get that idea out. But now times are changing with podcasts, with the internet. Now we can actually put words and put a voice to that idea or that concept that people never had before. So now the really free thought is going to compete against the big 3 broadcasters or government-supported media.
Thanks to the Rebel Love Show, the world will soon be free.
Well, I mean, like, look at it, like this studio right here. Like what we're doing right now probably would have cost like 10, 15 years ago. You would have had like an entire TV studio, hundreds of thousands of dollars, a satellite uplink, and all that jazz, and all the equipment would have been crazy expensive.
Yeah, now look at us, a couple of broke-ass immigrants that just sort of like moved in and just scrapped
some microphones together at a table, put some foam up, and throw it up on the internet.
Now, thousands of people hear our, unpolished voices and our ramblings and stuff. But this kind of thing, and I was before I left Arizona, I was working at the Western Center for Journalism. I was their fundraising director, development director. But I was watching them as they were creating this like studio for professional broadcasts, and my boss was all telling me, hey, look at this is cool. We're doing it for 1/10 the cost it cost like 5 years ago. And it was something that cost easily 20 or more times what this cost. And it just, now being a voice to planet motherfucking Earth is so easy. It's so easy, so cheap, anyone can do it. And so there's no restriction on voice now that, we have to pre-approve it through all this kind of stuff. Anyone can talk to the world. And now it's the strength of the message that rises to the top, not the strength of the polish and the money and the equipment.
Yeah, anyone can talk to the internet and at large, and most people, like, especially younger generations, like for me, like a lot of people younger, they don't really watch much TV anymore. Everything's on the internet, and podcasts, YouTube, you name it. That's becoming more of the the medium in which communications are done. And when you're talking about like technology coming up higher and whatnot, information can be exchanged so quickly now compared to just, a decade ago, where, like we all carry around these smartphones that like instant communications between everyone. I actually be on the show literally from my smartphone. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I didn't have to like write you a letter and call you from I go to a landline and actually call up your office or phone or anything like that.
The best example of that I could think of from my personal experience is about the whole secession topic. So earlier in the year, on July 4th, I organized an independence rally in 4 different cities around New Hampshire. So we hit Keene, Nashua, Manchester, and Portsmouth, and so set the groundwork for that. And so Derek J. Freeman of Victimless Crime Scene Legend had a piece of news now. He wanted me on to talk about that stuff, but I wasn't able because I was at like a Bitcoin meetup and stuff. So I did my call-in just from my smartphone. I'm there just chilling, eating, what was it, chicken wings with everyone else. And I just, hang on, guys. I just go to the corner, pull out this little sucker right here, and then just broadcast to the world right from there. And anyone can do that, and that's just something that technology can set us free. A lot of people are just, this is cool, this is fun, but they don't realize the earth-shattering consequences of just being able to have access to all of human information and technology right from this little thing here that we never have off our person, basically.
You have
unless we drop it in the toilet.
Yeah. I mean, besides you using it for selfies and Snapchat left and right.
Dude, I Snapchat too much.
Oh, so do I.
I need help. That. If anyone here is a Snapchat counselor, please.
You need intervention. I'm starting to snap you snapping because that's all I see you doing. Like you'll be in public, like snapping here, snapping there. But I mean, no,
snapping conference call, snapping anything,
snapping Ash. Like I'm tired of you snapping Ash. You snap Ash way too much.
Like when she has no water, she's all bitching about it.
Give her some water. Instead of giving her some water, you literally Snapchat a video for a while that worked. Look, with like sad music playing in the background.
It's funner.
At any rate, like besides using it for stupid purposes like Snapchat, like you do have the entire world's knowledge at the tips of your fingers with a device that fits in your pocket.
And just going serious for a second, I don't think even Snapchat is stupid.
No, I don't think it's stupid. I don't think it's stupid.
Most of the stuff I do on it might be stupid, but the fact is, it's instant communication with everyone with a very visual component. So that way, myself, I can be connected to someone halfway across the world, and they can just be living they can just be acting as if they're my friend right next to me. They can see everything. I mean, look at I drink this latte for work. Look at this dead possum here, or whatever. And then just, it's like they're hanging out with me, but they're not. They're halfway across the world, and it's really pretty cool.
Well, you're sharing moments of your life with another human being, and that's what you're using like Snapchat for. And I get that because I do the same thing. I share like moments I'm doing or whatnot. With other people.
Mostly e-cigs, like 98%.
Yes, well, just like you do mostly do Ash, or you do like, you got to take latte photos of yourself left and right. Yeah,
coffee is God, okay? Well, I can't deal without it.
I completely 100% agree with that. So, anyways, Shire dude, you don't snap anymore, man. You got to get on the Snapchat with us.
You see all my fucking snaps. You never snap me back.
Yeah, you never snap back anymore.
I don't use Snapchat as a conversational thing. I use it as like a random moments of art, sporadic art. So
do you download all the videos you take on that?
Usually, yeah.
Well, what are you going to do with them?
I don't know.
You're about to see. I want to
see as much footage as I can have. I will take it.
Okay, yeah. Cause I want a montage of all your of all your Snapchat videos into some sort of Shire Dude video. But speaking of, when is your Shire Dude video coming out? Your that season finale.
Ooh, yeah, well the next 3 episodes are coming out all at the same time, and I don't want to put a date on it yet because I'm not close enough.
Because he has a fear of commitment.
Yes, it's a deep set fear of commitment.
Well, commit to something, man. I'm jonesing. Like it's been like a month.
I know.
Like you're knocking them out left and right every week.
Weekly,
you had a weekly release schedule. Now it's.
I'm also waiting on some stuff to come in the mail. So,
what do you know?
Without giving away too much.
Shire Dude Flame.
Okay. I remember for the last video, you had me record something really ridiculous over Facebook chat, and I had no idea what you were going to use it for. It's like, can you just like make fun of a dog?
It's a pretty strange request.
It was. I'm like, but that's not a strange request coming from you.
Yeah.
Nothing's a strange request. Now, for all the viewers at home, who have not seen Shire Dude, just watch that shit, right? Because it's bizarre, it's funny, it's a unique piece of art that's also an insight into the community like none else.
Yeah.
I mean, we all talk about the work that we're doing, or maybe look at my coffee, look at my flyers that I'm handing out, look at this, and it's like that misses the whole like everyday life thing that somehow he managed to capture and make it batshit insane. Look at Shire Dude. Also, whenever Shire Dude's creative potential is unfulfilled, someone will release. Anonymous sources. Someone will release a Shire Douche episode to outdo him, and then that's how you know he has to step up his game. You're welcome.
Shire Douche is releasing some killer content, I gotta say.
It's only been one Shire Douche, though.
Yeah, because he picked up his game again.
He hasn't. He hasn't released another episode since somebody put that out.
If these 3 episodes aren't killer, Shire Douche, me, whoever, was going to release another one of his. That's just how it works.
Well, you need to get on that whole new episodes, man. I'm jonesing.
You know,
dude,
actually,
stop saying jonesing. No one says that.
Actually, I want to have a show where we just pitch shows during the show. What do you think about that?
Pitch shows during the show? Like what kind of show?
Pitching shows. I'd call it like Showception.
Showception.
What do you think about that one? Actually, but seriously, I do want to do a show where we. I've been talking with special someone about doing a show where we highlight.
Is it Lauren?
Definitely, where we highlight a specific
holy fuck
activist, and then we do like a kind of like a mini documentary. You know, each episode's a documentary of a specific activist. It's still in the works, though. I don't want to reveal too much.
It's gonna be like one thing that'd be cool to do, like a profile, like some crazy trippy profile of each activist in the Shire.
Yeah, we'd have to start with like Mark Warden.
Yeah.
For sure.
How trippy would you make Mark Warden's profile video?
I don't know. Mark Warden, what do you do besides real estate and politics?
Nothing else.
That's it.
The only thing I do for fun that's not liberty movement oriented is play volleyball.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
There we go.
Yeah,
Sand volleyball during the summer and then indoors during the winter.
Well, what are you going to do now that you're no longer a state rep?
I'm looking forward to finding out.
Well,
keep traveling. And
I remember you at the big gay dance party up in Parkfest with your
yes.
flaming sunglasses and everything. It was awesome. So I expect you to top yourself over at the Derek J's
party, yeah,
and Keenevention.
Yeah.
That sort of fun.
Yeah,
I'm
definitely looking
I've
forward
bounced
to
around the
Halloween
idea
party.
of going there dressed as Derek J. We'll see.
No, I honestly, you've talked about it enough. I'm sold on it. If you don't, like, I'm gonna be disappointed. Like, that's the best thing you could do is go as Derek J. Hopefully, he's not listening to this, which I don't think he is. But
no, if it's my last show, he might.
He might listen to it.
I'm gonna show up the party with a roll of quarters in my pocket, and he say, "You happy to see me, or are you just going to do some
Robin Hood?"
Yeah.
No, it's got to be a roll. It needs to be a roll of
jokey.
nickels. Don't they use nickels?
I don't know what they use.
Typically
You're
nickels,
the Keeniac.
I'm not the Keeniac here. If anyone's a Keeniac here, it's Shire Dude.
Probably.
Yeah, you're the Keeniac.
Isn't it funny how the term Keeniac has become kind of a slur? I think that you can use any.
I love the Keeniacs.
Well,
I love
they've
them too.
taken it back, so it's not a slur.
Like porch monkey.
They call like porch monkey. We've taken it back.
I don't know about that.
Uh,
What about Manchkin? What if that?
I hate Manchkin,
No.
by the way. I don't
I refuse
know.
to take that back.
I don't want it. They can have it.
Manchkin land.
Like how you've been here longer than any of us. Like, why did they start doing Manchkin? Did the Keeniacs start that? Did Manchester
I haven't
activists
heard
start
the
that?
term Manchkin.
You've
I know
never
nothing about it.
Good.
I've heard of Manch Vegas.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
Did
that's
you,
a local.
Was that yours though? Did you make that because you're from Las Vegas and now you're in Manchester?
No.
Vegas?
Before I
no.
got here. I guess
No.
in the olden days there used to be some backroom gambling going on and slot machines
Well,
around.
there's a club called Manch Vegas right down here
Yeah.
on Granite.
Yeah, it's a local. See, that's another thing that's crazy. 'Cause I always listen to like what people are doing in regards to like, you know, listening to like me and Shire Dude here. We spent how many years did you listen to LRN before you moved?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I probably started sometime in late 2012.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I spent at least a year to 2 years listening to LRN, and like they would talk about like, you know, that and like friending people on Facebook, and you'd see like these terms, these words that we use in regards to about the community, and I always thought that Manch Vegas was a Free Stater term for Manchester. I just assumed it was because so many people used it. And I remember I was at my day job, I was doing interviews, and this local just like started talking about Manch Vegas. Like, you know, I used to live down in Manch Vegas and stuff like that. I'm like, wait, Manch Vegas? It's like, oh, Manchester.
Yeah,
you know?
every place has its own nickname. Like, you know, Manch Vegas, you got Trashwa, you got Screw Market. You know, I could go on, but I won't.
Yeah, well, I just didn't know that. I assumed that was.
Now, Milford is its own nickname. It's the proper name and the nickname.
Have you had success in Milford from Tinder?
I did once go to the one time I actually went to Milford proper. I went with a MILF. So, just saying.
Anyways, back to like actual conversation stuff. We got sidetracked. New Hampshire independence, Mark. Where do you stand on New Hampshire independence?
It's great. What is it?
What is it?
Yes.
It means that we are going to get rid of 80 to 90% of the tyranny in our life by leaving the Union.
Yes, I'm all for it then.
You're all
Where
for
do I
it?
sign up?
You can sign. There's no sign. We don't.
FreeStateProject.org.
No.
There's not an official position of the Free State Project. Luckily, no one in this damn room is an official representative, or they could be in a hot fucking water.
Well, that actually have a thing about that. Did you guys all read Jason Soren's op-ed piece in the Washington Post
Yes.
about secession? He like walked right up to the line of talking about how the FSP was a secessionist movement.
And I remember in the FSP doers group, they were debating whether or not to share this article of the FSP thing, and I shared it too early, and then Keith Michael or Keith Carlson bitched me out about it. That was pretty funny.
He will do that, but
Yeah, he's a little bit sensitive. My first interaction with the guy was him bitching me out over something like that, and then later I met him and started working with him, and he's a cool guy.
Well, as the only official politician here in the room, I guess the only one that still believes in that crap.
Do you believe in it or just
approach-
engage in it?
Well, a little bit both, but probably the latter. But my official response would be, I'd like to first try this whole idea of nullification, right? Tom Woods talks a lot about that, where
he's a great anarchist, by the way.
where we exercise the 14th Amendment and state sovereignty and start pushing back against some of these ridiculous mandates that come down from Washington, D.C. So, yeah, well, the idea of secession is fine and dandy. And until then, it's sort of a halfway stop. Let's start just rejecting all these federal mandates, start exercising our sovereignty and doing our own thing here in New Hampshire without Big Brother telling us every
Now,
little
I
last thing
find
to do.
the nullification argument really kind of fascinating because, of course, the federal government's never going to recognize nullification efforts. But as part of my master's program, I went through a considerable amount of international law, which the difference between normal law, as you would say, is it's law between equals. So there's no top-down authority saying you all have to do this kind of thing. So what happens is eventually there's a de jure law and de facto law, right? There's de jure, which is on the books. This is the law on the books, and de facto, this is how it really is. And you can make the case for if a law has been de facto some way for long enough, then it's de jure. So, for example, the 420 protest that Rich Paul,
Which we were all at. Well, no,
rest
Shire
his
Dude
soul.
hadn't moved there yet. You're
Yeah.
talking about the rally on...
Well, all of them. All of them they did.
Okay.
At first, they were arresting because they were smoking marijuana on the steps of the state house, and they were getting arrested, and eventually stopped getting arrested. Now the cops don't even show up. People, I'm preaching to the choir. You know what I'm talking about. You show up there, you can smoke marijuana on the steps of the state house, the center of New Hampshire's government, and it's illegal, but no one does anything about it because they just got tired of arresting activists for just, smoking a plant. And one could possibly make the legal argument that it is de facto legal. That eventually, if someone gets arrested for smoking marijuana, then they could have there could be a possible legal argument for, well, even though it's on the books illegal, it hasn't been enforced openly at all in such a long time that you guys got no case to prosecute this guy. Let him go.
Well, yeah, I can see it definitely becoming a point where, because so many people smoke pot at this point that I mean, cops smoke pot. I'm sure there's a lot of cops on the force that smoke pot as well. And I mean, it's going to get to the point where, like,
especially ones who have to deal with free staters.
Yeah, I don't feel sorry for them. By the way, I enjoy giving cops a hard time.
I think you should invite some police officers to come sit in on this show.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would do that in a heartbeat. In fact, I've heard rumor of a few that love what porcupines are doing. There's one guy in particular who everyone on the force of Manch PD just gives him shit, and they call him the Free Stater cop. You're the Free Stater cop. Fuck you. Because apparently he's like, I like these guys are doing. They're fighting for our rights. Same as I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, and They're kind of doing the same thing. And then he gets shit for other people on the force because of that. But if I can find who that guy is, I'm going to invite him on the show. Be like, dude, you got to come over here. Nice. You know, we promise we won't film you all the time, other than these webcams, all around the room.
Yeah.
You know.
So, Mark, where do you see for the next couple of years with the State House, with all the porcupines that will get into the State House? Where do you see, like, any kind of legislation people should be aware, like, you know, like anticipating? What do you anticipate in general for, like, you know, liberty activism in the State House? Because the State House rep, I mean, you only make $100 a year, so it's pretty much, you know, volunteer activism, in my opinion. What do you see going forward in the next year or so?
I think we're going to continue to make headway and increase certainly the dialogue about liberty, individual liberty, and less government. One of the things I'd like to see pass next year is the repeal of civil asset forfeiture.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big one. I sponsored a bill this year that was just a rehashing of a bill that was from 2 years ago, and it failed under Democratic leadership this year. But I think next year, with the House being controlled by the Republicans, we have a much better shot at seeing that succeed. And I know a lot of the Free Staters that get elected will be co-sponsors and will be lobbying behind the scenes to make that happen. If we can get a couple of liberty-friendly or small L libertarians elected to the state Senate, that will be a big help as well.
So for the listeners at home who aren't like politics friendly, what's civil asset forfeiture?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Right now, the way it works is under the civil asset forfeiture laws, the cops or prosecutors can take your stuff. They can take personal property like your car, cash is very common, jewelry, in some cases your house, just by claiming that it was part of your criminal activity. Of course, it's always drugs that they use that for. So if somebody's driving down with no drugs but has a lot of cash, they can say, oh, you're a drug dealer, we're taking that cash, we're seizing it, and we're taking the car. What's insidious about this is it's a civil action. So even when nobody has been convicted, in some cases without even having been charged, the cops will just take your shit. And people aren't going to fight it, often because it costs more to hire lawyers to fight it in court than it does for the value of whatever that was seized. You know, let's say it was a couple $1,000s worth. Well, in most cases, people aren't going to fight the big government for that. So it's a terrible practice.
All the reason to use more Bitcoin, because they can't steal Bitcoin very easily.
Amen to that.
Unless you have them showing in your bag there at the airport security.
Oh yeah, I have some Bitcoin pins that they think that are
Bitcoins.
Yeah,
that's another thing. A lot of people in the community who are a little bit more radical, you know, very anti-police, call them road pirates. And now, when you call them, I mean, you have to explain that a little bit. Well, yeah, I see when they pull you over and they give you a speeding ticket or whatever, they're just really just taking your money, man. But now when it's like civil asset forfeiture, they literally just go and pillage you. They just stop you in here and take your shit and leave. And I mean, these people are supposed to protect and serve us, and they're just literally road pot. You can't even defend what they're doing. They just come and take your shit
First
and
off,
leave.
even if you had a bunch of pot or drugs in your car, so what? That's your property. You know, there was a bunch of ammo or guns and stuff like that. And if you had a couple grand in cash, so what? So you're transporting money. Like, that shouldn't be a crime, and people shouldn't be stealing. Like, cops should not steal every, you know, dollar that you have on you just because you might be doing illegal activities. And those legal activities are nothing more than, you know, selling a product that people want.
Now, even if you defend all the laws on the books, right? Even if you defend that you're a criminal for smoking pot or having pot or selling pot, whatever, why do they get to just steal all your shit? It's like, well, you're a bad person, therefore everything you own is mine. It's like, what happens if your neighbor punches you in the face? Do you just get to own his house? I mean, that's just crazy. That's just theft.
And of course, the unintended consequence of this type of law is that it perverts the incentives for cops. So now they're looking for this sort of thing because they know they can just take it and people aren't going to fight back. One of the most egregious examples of it was a few years back in Tewksbury, Mass., just over the border, south of Massachusetts, where
Let's all say a silent prayer that we're of thanks to whatever superior being there might be that we're not living in Mass.
Amen. The feds seized this guy's hotel because out of 5 years and 20,000 some hotel stay nights, there were 5 instances of either prostitution or drug exchanges going on in his hotel, or so the cops claimed. But the Institute for Justice, which is a great organization, IJ.
Love IJ. I've worked for Clint before. He's a great guy.
Yeah, they came to his rescue and provided all the attorney free of charge. What they did is they proved and got the cops to admit on the record in court that of all the other hotels around there, they chose this guy's hotel to go after under civil asset forfeiture because he had no mortgage. And because he wasn't a big national chain that could fight. So basically he had all this equity. The motel was worth $1 million. So the cops went after him because he couldn't fight and because it was a valuable asset that then they could turn around and sell it down the road and keep that money for their department. So
Wow.
And that's what cops are doing. They're taking this stuff and they're selling off the fancy cars, the fancy jewelry and the cash, and lining the pockets of their own departments.
Yeah, like I remember, people throw memes all the time of where there's cop cars, this used to belong to a drug dealer, now it's ours. No, you just stole a car from someone that was probably selling pot, and then
Right.
just because you deem something that somebody's doing as immorally wrong doesn't give you the moral high ground to actually steal from them as well.
Yeah, and that makes even if you want to defend stealing a drug dealer's property, what you should do is sell it and give the money back to tax refunds to the taxpayers. But yeah, no,
Well,
it's not going to happen.
Another example is a gal who was a stripper or exotic dancer, and she was traveling across the country with a couple $100,000 in cash in her suitcase. They pulled her over, they took her cash, and it turns out she had been filing her taxes correctly all along, and this was actually legitimately earned tips from her business. And of course, the government had to do mea culpa, but not after years and years of legal battles. And they took her shit, and they took her money, and didn't give it back for a couple of years.
At least she got it back. I mean, but most people never get that money back.
Whatever's
Most
left
don't, that's
after
right.
lawyer fees.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're about to hit the end of the show, but I have one last question for you, Mark. When are you going to run for governor?
We'll save that for another show.
You can make your announcement live on air.
There's a fun book written by Davi Barker. I
Love it.
noticed on Joel's collar there, he has a pin on Bitcoins, Not Bombs. And Davi Barker is an excellent, very creative artist and entrepreneur. And he's written a book sort of about New Hampshire and the Shire. And it's a children's book. But in there, there's a reference to Governor Warden. Which is
I'm sure it's
throw out
about
for
you.
that. I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah. All right. So Joel, you got the floor. This is your last episode, so go forth,
right.
sir.
Oh,
It is my last episode, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Because, that's one thing that happens. A lot of people around the world, I mean, you talk to people, there's people who believe in the cause of liberty, and a lot of times they're just stuck where they are, living their lives, just bitching about how much the world sucks. And a lot of people come here, not a lot, but a few. The brave few come here to try to actually make a difference for the world and for the future. And unfortunately, the temptation is to take the easy path and just stay here, now be in a cooler place, but still just bitch about what's happening, not actually doing anything. And I mean, I think Penn and Teller made this point about peace activism, about a lot of times people do activism that feels good, that they like to do, that makes them in their comfort zone. They just get to feel like they're good and making a difference, and they don't so much care about exactly the impact of that. Now, way back in my D.C. days, I used to work for the Leadership Institute, and Morton Blackball, the head thereof, one of his things he always said was, you owe it to your philosophy to study how to win. And so that's why I'm leaving my comfort zone and going on to greater things that I think, there's plenty of people talking about what's going on here, and that's wonderful because people need to know. This is something for the world history books, what's happening here in New Hampshire right now. I want to have a more active role in giving people like the fine host of the Rebel Love Show stuff to talk about. So one of these things is, as you do, Mark, going into politics, etc., going into the machine and slowing the abuses of the state. And then there's other people who go out and start businesses and do things like that. Again, you're kind of doing both of those. You're doing great for yourself. And so I want to be doing all that kind of stuff and also spread the message outside this little echo chamber of people who all just not in agreement. So go take these ideas outside of the people who are ready for them but not necessarily exposed yet. So I'm going to focus on stuff that challenges me a little bit more, and then I'll be on from the show from time to time, just talk about all the awesome stuff that's happening, and we're going to win this thing. That's it.
Liberty in our lifetime.
Yep.
That's
all
the
of
goal.
Our lifetime.
Yes, for everyone's lifetime.
Good luck. We'll miss you.
Yes. So you can find all of our content at rebelloveshow.com. You can find my content at VRebel. Joel, what's your sites?
TheDesertLinks.com.
So everyone go check that out. Just go read his blog. It's good stuff. And, Shire Dude, where can people find you at?
ShireDude.com.
Whoa.
And, of course, Mark, pimp your shit out, your business, the jingle.
I can't sing it as well as Anarchist, so I'll just tell you spoken word. PorcupineRealEstate.com.
There you go. Go buy some real estate from the porcupine himself.
Like, I have money to buy a fucking house, man. Come on.
Just, if they donate a bunch of Bitcoin, then we can buy a house from Mark here with Bitcoin and,
yes. Give us
like 20 Bitcoins and, 200 Bitcoins or something like that.
One Bitcoin would be nice for me.
One Bitcoin will just wait 5 years. Come on.
There you go.
Exactly.
There you go. All right, so we're out. Peace, guys.
Peace.
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 Bravo. That's fun.